Okay, so this is going to be the first of these weekly review videos I've made. I just want to warn you, I'm not always going to focus on the same assets. I'm basically going to focus on whatever assets I was interested in and I was trading the week before. But we actually had a really interesting week here. This is like the second to last week of June. We actually just had a Fed meeting on June 17th. And this is the week after the Fed meeting, basically. And so what we've seen is we saw a continuation of some of the moves that the Fed meeting had kicked off, and these moves weren't exactly like fresh moves. They were we were continuing to see strength in the dollar versus the foreign currencies. We were continuing to see bearish liquidity in general, and so I want to focus on the assets that trade based on liquidity on a broader time frame, which for the purposes of this video are going to be gold and Bitcoin. And I also just want to briefly mention MicroStrategy shares, the common equity in MicroStrategy. So the three key levels that were hit this week. So this week was it was a 5-day trading week ending June 26th. So each of the three assets I mentioned, so you've got Bitcoin on the left here, that took out the earlier lows from earlier in June, and it even took out the lows set back before the coincidentally the MSTR earnings. It was actually during the MSTR earnings call with Michael Saylor at like 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon in early February there for their quarterly earnings. So the Bitcoin took out its early February lows. That actually isn't shown on this chart. MSTR took out the 100 even round number in the common equity, and now it ended the week at 82. So it just had a terrible week. And then gold had the most impressive rebound of all these products. Gold took out the 4,000 round number on both spot and futures. And this is the spot chart on the right. And it actually rebounded. And I'll be telling you about a gold long turtle soup trade that I took on Friday based on that. But first, can you still hear me? Okay, good. Okay. So we're going to go over to FX Replay, and I'm going to focus in on the Bitcoin chart, and I'm going to look for a Monday daily candle to completely form. I'm going to go to the hourly chart just so I don't miss anything. And after the Monday daily candle completely forms, I want to look for Monday's range to get taken out in a way that makes a bearish turtle soup back down into the key level and below, because I mean 58,000 was the one, I believe, the low of the week. So here we are at Sunday night. Sunday night is when Globex opens. This is the BTCUSD spot contract for difference that trades on Globex brokerages, primarily where you trade spot forex and the like. So here we have it's Sunday at 8 p.m. Now the Tokyo just opened. We're kind of outlining our Monday range, so these could perhaps be the Monday lows. Looks like we're taking liquidity early on in Asia. I mean, this might have been the high of the week, actually. So Bitcoin had a high, a higher high, and an even higher high. That's kind of a 3 drives pattern. Just looking left here for a second, we made essentially equal highs with this Wednesday early Asia open, early Asian open to Thursday here, this little high. We basically made equal highs. So that is a candidate for being a turtle soup later on. Though I think the actual weekly candle entry, like the really, really nice entry short in Bitcoin, I don't actually think it even makes it there. I think that traders like early on, and I want to say, I remember watching this, I think it was Tuesday, I had a couple good kind of a continuation trades. Like I want to say that I didn't catch the bearish turtle soup on Bitcoin perfectly last week. I know a lot of traders did. A lot of traders that were short Bitcoin with a short bias on it at least. But here, so what time is it? So now it's Monday. It's kind of the late London session. We're getting ready for like the NYAM pre-market, the 7 a.m. kill zone for like the classic ICT traders. Yeah, so it's pretty bullish through that early NY trade. I'm trying to look at some levels here that, I mean, now that we've taken out this high here, you could really start looking for short entries, just because now we're trading into, we've taken out this LR, and now we're trading into high resistance liquidity, particularly that high there. We'll see how far we get on Monday. Yeah, so like a really commanding, like bearish engulfing candle, in a real classic technical way. Actually, it doesn't quite engulf there, but it looks like a 1 hour CRT essentially. If we get another close below that low, then that is really like a 1 hour model number one. I mean, we're essentially turtle souping this previous low here. So there's basically our turtle soup entry for the week. Right? Going if it's kind of like a day one turtle soup, you could look, a 1 day time frame turtle soup, you could look on the 1 hour chart for a model number one entry. Looks like, because it's basically just this one down close day that we're looking to turtle soup or clear the CRT trade actually. Let's see if we get another retest of that red line. I don't think we do. I'm not sure. It's really easy to miss. I mean, this is kiss of death kind of territory, because we've been in a bear. We've been bearish on Bitcoin. We've been moving lower for so long that this really is a kiss of death type of trade into very fresh liquidity lows down here. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to change all these to back to gray, because that's kind of bugging me. Just because the red line, I was using it on another video where I was pointing out another concept, but we're just drawing our normal, entry lines, break-even lines, target lines, stuff like that. Yeah, so it's really bearish off of that candle. Early Tuesday in Asia, right? We're really bearish. But you do want to see perhaps a little pop into that descending trendline liquidity there. That would be all you would need. Let's see if we get it. We're still kind of like in model number one territory. Oh, so yeah, so you don't even really get it. You have to be super aggressive as a futures trader. You kind of have to like be counter trend bullish Monday during the day. Then once the 10 a.m. options expiry happens, you're bearish in a more aggressive entry, like a bearish model number one. So even going down to the 15-minute chart and like really kind of scalping. Actually, first let's go to the 4-hour chart and map out a high and a low. Yeah, so it's just that fact that wick right there and that one close above and then that close below that 4-hour candle. So really, it's a 4-hour model number one, right? That's our entry. So I was on the wrong time frame for the 1 hour. On the 2 hour, yeah, you almost get a CRT on the 2 hour with a large up close candle. Close below, retest, so right there as well. But anyways, it's a real dramatic move, and I can't remember. I definitely I definitely didn't get any shorts up here. I think I caught one here. I think I caught one lower down as it broke down. Pretty happy with my Bitcoin trading for the week. Really just consistent results this week. Like I wasn't really over leveraged. I wasn't analyzing the market wrong. So this dump right here, this is another turtle soup, which is awesome. Another really good turtle soup of that little candle there. So this range, the Asian opening range, right? This is like classic. This is like even before Romeo, even before CRT, like ICT traders were looking at Asian opening ranges and just trying to like, you know, get a 7 a.m. kill zone entry, like to use those 2022 buzzwords. But this idea of, okay, now it's turtle soup, right? Bearish turtle soup, and then dump. And this is the real kiss of death. Like this is the kiss of death on like kind of a higher time frame. This is like the kiss of death on like the hourly time frame, where we just get a vicious dump into the sell side liquidity after that. So yeah, there it is in the high 58s. That I think is the low of the week. Nope. Okay, so there's a reason why I had that line drawn, is because it really and so this is actually pretty bullish. And so Thursday just closed. So now I'm actually going to switch assets up on you. I hope it doesn't confuse you too much. So gold is like Bitcoin, except for it lags a little bit. So with the liquidity cycle, the global liquidity cycle, as liquidity drains from the financial system, that's very bearish for Bitcoin, and Bitcoin reacts exponentially. Gold is slightly more lagged. It won't react right away. So in other words, Bitcoin back in October of 2025 was dumping, right? Whereas gold still was making some higher highs. I'll just go to the weekly chart really quick just to show you. But if you compare where we were back in October of 2025, gold is still on the way up and Bitcoin is on the way down, because gold is lagging Bitcoin by a number of weeks, right? It's not the same every time. Like it won't just like be a perfect, time series lag variable, but it's a good, this looks like about 12 weeks, right? So anyways, gold hits its highest all-time highs, right? It does turtle soup, right? And then it dumps. So going back to this week, we're still dumping. We actually haven't hit that 4,000 key level yet ever since gold hit its highest highs. We haven't hit the 4,000 round number yet. So I've been eyeing the 4,000 level for quite a while, and this week it hit it, right? So this week, just looking at the 4-hour chart price action, actually let's look at the daily chart for just a second too. Look at this. Down close candle, fair value gap, down close candle, fair value gap, key level hit and taken out, daily CRT into key level as Friday opens. Now we go long. We go long gold with the eventual target of here, but the expectation is, because it's Friday, we only really want half that candle range, so about 50%, right? So even that low there, even that low as a kind of a short-term target would make us happy. So yeah, so really just a scalp, like a counter trend scalp going long. We're on the 1-hour chart. We get a model number 1 Thursday during the day, and so what we're looking to do is we're just looking to trade back down into that on Friday. And look at this. So this is kind of this. This is a turtle soup into that. Turtle soup of all of these hourly candle ranges, right? So in other words, large up close candle, breaker, makes another, starts to kind of accumulate lower, then it takes out that range. If you start counting these candles, right, this will be like the, between 9 and 10 candles away from this original candle here. And so we basically turtle soup that initial low there and get bullish after that. And so this was a trade that I was able to take long gold heading into Friday with pretty good results. Notice we actually did hit that previous daily low. So really Monday, if we want to take out some further sell side liquidity in gold, then you would be looking for that daily candle to be completely, that daily high to be taken out in gold, then a CRT of this candle range. So in other words, like all of these candles, you're looking for a bearish turtle soup, and it's a little like, I don't know, like we actually could have the potential to be going bullish because liquidity is going to drain for Friday, July 3rd, because Friday, July 3rd is actually a banking holiday because of Independence Day coming up. So we might be looking at like a tight range forming, and then with the resumption of trade on Monday the 6th coming out, Monday and Tuesday the 6th and 7th of July, we actually might see some further manipulation higher before a dump lower again. I know we probably want to retest these lows again. I don't know that things have changed in liquidity terms such that we should really want to really rally up and, like, you know, let's say try again for like a 5,000. But, you know, you always want to kind of keep an eye to that. Bitcoin is kind of a much more interesting bottom because on Bitcoin, if you go to the 4-hour chart, all I see when I look at this is low liquidity resistance run. In other words, I see this rising trend line and I like it taking out this high, stabbing into this breaker here, and then going lower and completely taking that out. It's going to be interesting because we are literally starting a new quarter. So you kind of have to think about the dynamics. Like going back to the weekly chart, the first week that we'll have a July start date isn't next week. It's actually the week after, Monday, July 6th. So consider Monday, July 6th as like, that's the first week of July technically, right? And the other thing is we have to look at the economic data as far as like when is non-farm payrolls. Is non-farm payrolls July 3rd? I probably won't be if it's a banking holiday, right? So have they pushed it back towards July 10th? And then we've got CPI coming up with that middle Wednesday, July 15th. Then there's another Fed meeting in July, I believe. So the Fed Wednesday in July, is it the last week of July? Is that meeting the 22nd? So I have to look at an economic calendar pretty quick here. Let me go look at one for you because we're kind of in look ahead mode because we talked about the bearish turtle soup in Bitcoin and then the bullish turtle soup on gold on Friday. So I'm just going to end this video by looking ahead to, I'm going to open up my Brave really quick, and we're just going to go into our calendar, and you'll be checking the economic calendar in real time. These news event catalysts are going to give you, whoops, not FX replay, Forex Factory. Forex Factory is the one I always use. There it is. Let's make sure I'm actually, nope, I'm not. So I'll tell you what, I'll just check it in the background here. So it looks like Friday is a holiday. It's a U.S. banking holiday. No news. It looks like Wednesday is the FOMC meeting minutes from last month. CPI is not Wednesday the 15th as I thought. PPI though, you get PPI. Where is CPI? Did they push it back? CPI. Yes, so CPI is on Tuesday. So yeah, so we've got CPI is Tuesday. When is NFP? That's the thing I'm worried about. Tell you what, I'm going to do a little filter because there's way too many. There are way too many events on here, and it's like making my It's making this whole process a lot less efficient. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, so okay, good, man, good thing I looked. So next week is NFP week. So next week being NFP week kind of further supports my initial hypothesis that we're going to get a lot of consolidation before we get any new expansions into liquidity. Yeah, so it could be something like a manipulation of on Thursday with NFP where we really take out a lot of lower lows maybe in Bitcoin, and then gold you might retest, and then the bullish move higher through the meeting minutes maybe, and then it might be CPI that causes a resumption in trend lower. Even though by July 14th you'll be 14 days into the new quarter, the way a quarterly CRT would work if we are setting up for one, I would even give it more time than 14 days. I mean, a quarter is 13 weeks of trading, right? So if you want to think about like it takes the daily candle until midnight to fully accumulate. It takes a weekly candle until Tuesday to fully accumulate, right? It takes a monthly candle, I don't know, what's 25% of, sorry, it takes a, we could say that. It could take a monthly candle, kind of a Tuesday of week 2 of the month, like 10 trading days in, right? And then 4 times that would be 40 trading days. Or sorry, 3 times that, 30 trading days. So 30 trading days into the month, right? Or maybe 20 trading days. But on July 14th, it will not have been I wouldn't be looking for that. I'd be looking for more continued. That still messed up my microphone. My gosh. Thank you. So just like looking at gold, there was a level where I was like really confident that gold was going to take out. For gold to really hit if you go to the weekly chart, I think it was, yeah. So this low here, this right here, this bottomless, wickless, bullish candle, we got to take this sucker out. Right? Because if we're, it depends on what swing low you use, but we're barely below the 50%. Right? I mean, if you think about it in terms of like liquidity regimes, going back to the monthly, October of 2022 was a low point in liquidity. Gold, as liquidity expanded with the financial system, and gold's a slight lag to it, liquidity has already peaked. Like we are already headed back down to another low point in liquidity. So if you go from the October 2022 lows, and now we're thinking in terms of like the big, wide liquidity cycle terms, the 65-month cycle, right? The next low of the 65-month cycle we're projected to be in, it's at 3,613, right? So like that's why I'm thinking at least these lows get taken out, and then this. But we have so much time. We have weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks to take out that liquidity, which is why I kind of think that gold might very tentatively take out these lows and then range for a bit, and then a true crisis might happen in early 2027. Just going by the terms of the 65-month cycle, a true crisis might happen in the early part of 2027, the first half, we'll call it, and I really see gold digging into this breaker. I see us completely clearing these lows and taking them out, and then eventually making it there as far as a CRT. So on a quarterly time frame, we're looking to reverse within this quarterly fair value gap. Like 2 consecutive fair value gaps higher on the quarterly chart. We completely engulf this candle, and we take out at least part of this. You know, let's get to the consequent encroachment of this this fair value gap, which is 3,666. So a couple different like corroborating measures of a decent downside target for gold over the next few months. I mean, we're not scalping here. We're in like a really like stoic 35,000 feet. I'm not even going to look at Bitcoin on the longer time frame. Gold's more interesting to me, kind of coming into the next week. Yeah, Bitcoin. I don't know. I don't know about Bitcoin. Okay. All right. Thank you guys.